The Seahawks have a new offensive coordinator. We know that, Shane Waldron. They checked off one of the most important things on their to-do list this offseason. So what's next? That's my question for you guys on the most interactive sports talk show in Seattle, and here is my answer. This actually is more important, I think, than what the Seahawks just did at offensive coordinator. We'll see what happens with Shane Waldron. Creating cap space and roster flexibility in the coming weeks leading up to free agency, I think it's going to be more important to the 2021 Seattle Seahawks. As I stumble all over my words. You do not want to stumble into free agency in a spot where you don't have a lot of cap room. And there are always ways that you can navigate the salary cap and find ways to create a little bit more flexibility for yourself. But you don't have a first-round pick. You don't have a third-round pick. Because of those picks that are missing from the Jamal Adams trade, the odds of you getting someone who is an immediate put-you-over-the-top contributor are low. You have some holes. Left guard, you want someone who at the very least is consistent, who can be out there every single week. And on the defensive end, you're looking at your secondary to see if there are ways that you can either upgrade the cornerback position or maintain some of it with Shaquille Griffin and Quinton Dunbar being free agents. And you've also got some questions about Jamal Adams and his contract, and are you going to give him a big deal? Those names, like Jamal Adams, and the guys who are making the most money on the Seahawks, Russell Wilson, Bobby Wagner, the Seahawks are going to have some awkward conversations with them to help create that cap space. I don't know that Russell Wilson's going to be the one that you can go to. His agent, Mark Rogers, is a baseball agent, and with that in mind, I don't think that he's going to be one of those guys who ever listens to owners and thinks to himself, you know what, I'm going to find a way to make things a little bit easier for ownership. No, I think those baseball people are set in their ways to be just as adversarial as possible. So I would talk to Bobby Wagner, and I would ask Bobby, hey man, look, we appreciate all that you've done here, but over the next 2 seasons, you're going to count $17 million against the cap and $20 million against the cap. What can we do to create more space right now? Is it some sort of an extension? And it's going to be difficult to bring that up with Bobby. That's a lot of money. If I'm Bobby Wagner and I'm one of the most important Seahawks ever and someone says, oh, well, we got to take a look at your salary, man. How are you going to respond to that? You're probably going to laugh. First team All-Pro. I got all the leverage here. You really want to see what life is like without me? And it would be worse without him, even if I don't think that he had the impact that a lot of people believe that he had last season. But that's a guy that the Seahawks are going to have to talk to. You know who else they might have to have a conversation with? Carlos Dunlap. I think this one actually could be easy. You can extend Carlos Dunlap. You can push some money down the road. But he's a $14 million cap hit this coming year. That's a lot. That prevents you from being able to do all that you might need to do in free agency. Dwayne Brown's entering the last year of his contract. He's due $13 million. What do you say to Dwayne? We're going to give you an extension. We're going to maybe give you some money down the road. Push that cap figure back because he is getting up there in age, and you do have to think about the future of that left tackle position. And also Tyler Lockett. This is the last year of his contract too. Probably didn't know that, did you? You're going to have to figure out, I think, a way first off to keep him around long term. Second off, you're going to have to pay him for the production that he has given you over the last 2 seasons. And how much that might cost, it could cost you a lot. But those contracts, any contract that the Seahawks are paying that's going to have a cap hit of over $10 million this year, that is going to hurt them in free agency, and they've got to find a way to make those contracts less of an obstacle for them. That's what I think is the most important thing for the Seattle Seahawks to do now that they've hired their offensive coordinator. And honestly, creating that flexibility, I think, is more important than having just hired Shane Waldron. You get to answer that question.